Hey guys, well, as some of you know, I've got a torn glove here, and I was contemplating whether or not I should do the video on fixing this guy up. Well, after considerable thought, I decided, you know what, let me do this because this is starting to get interesting. Okay, I know this is fairly basic, and most of you know about how to do this thing, but I'm just going to do a video just for the hell of it, because there were some things my grandmother taught me that was really neat. I really liked. So what I'm going to do is, because this is leather and the holes are what I'm going to do is I don't have very thick thread to sew this guy on, so I'm going to double up the thread so that it's much thicker. The thread isn't thin and it won't rip through the leather so easily. It's going to be tougher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, you can't really see it, but I'm going to select a needle that has a small diameter that can glide through the leather. It won't be very difficult to push through, and I'm going to get but I want a needle with a head that's larger, that has a pin head that's larger, so I can feed 4 sets of strings through, 2 sets of strings through. So what I've gotten is white spool, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, stretch it out, I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to fold it over one more time, and then the needle is going to go through, the head is going to go through here, so I'll have 4 strands. And I've already done that just to save some time. I've put together a needle here, and I don't know if you can see it, but there are 4 distinct threads going through here. There's 4 distinct threads. So what I got here is now the trick in feeding the needle through is to use a nail clipper so that you can trim the edge off very neatly, very cleanly, and then it'll be a nice clean edge. It'll just go right through, and you can feed it through. And typically what I do is tie a knot, double knot. I tie 2 knots in order to prevent the thread. You know, a lot of people don't do this. They just start sewing, and then, you know, a few months down the line they have to restitch it. But what I like to do is I like to just tie a knot, and that basically is a stopper. Stoppers can be uncomfortable, but if you do it right, if you don't make them too big and you put them in the right place, they're not gonna get in the way. And I like to trim it just before the stopper. And what I found is, well, okay, this is what you do. Basically, it's torn this side, but stitches are on the other. So I'm going to turn this over here and try and do this in a hurry. I'm always doing things in a hurry. I don't know why. I just try to do too many things at one time. Okay, so the glove's turned over. You can see the stitching here. Let's see what the flaw is. The flaw is that the stitching came a little too close to the edge, and whoever did this probably was, I don't know, distracted watching YouTube or something and not doing this. I don't know if they have YouTube there, but anyway, so here we go. We start off, I tend to start off where the thread is okay, start off here and work myself up. I don't start in the middle because that's the highest stress concentration. Plus, I don't want it being stitched crooked, just like when you put on a shirt and the buttons are offset. So I want to start off somewhere here, so by the time I get to mending the whole thing, it's smooth. And as I start here, let's try it here. As I start, wow, it's really tough. It's really tough on the fingers to push this through. And you might want to use a thimble. A lot of people use thimbles. And you know, in case you don't know what that is, it's a thimble right here. You put it on one of your fingers and use this to push the needle through, and it has a texture in such a way that it locks onto the back of the needle and push through. But you know, yeah, I don't know if I'll use this. But and then what I have here is, I had a hard time pushing through, so what I got here is lip moisturizer, and you know, you can put it on your lips. Yeah, I use this for kissing and all that good stuff, but what I do is I run a thread through it, and so it lubricates. And let me tell you, it makes this guy like butter. Okay, the other trick too is to run it through a candle or candle wax or some type of wax. But I don't have wax, and this is what I use. I just happen to not have wax. Wax will work better, but that's just not what I have right now. And now it's made this a little slippery. So you know what? I like to do. Give me a second here. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. That's not typical of me. I'll use one of these and hold it through because I'm a tool guy. I like, oh, there it is, and just slips through. Leather tends to grab. It tends to grab in such a way that it's hard to push through. But now that I've got the lubrication, and there it is, I just keep going, and I will go through this maybe a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times, and I try to match the whole pattern where it was stitched, and then I'll go over it one more time outside of the whole pattern, and I'll try to stitch it in 1mm increments, or for you or it's either 1mm or maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 increments. I try to match the stitching pattern. So, ooh, I missed that one. That one's not good. But you get the idea. I'll go through this once, and then twice, sometimes 3. Sometimes if I know that this is problem area, I'll stitch this once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, just to make sure I don't have to deal with the problem again. And there you go. That's basically it. Those are the tricks.